Hey guys, welcome back and happy Tuesday. All right, guys. So I know, again, I said this in my earlier pre-record, but we didn't have Wake Up and Adam this morning. I'm just going to keep saying it for the rest of the week that during the month of March, we will be doing it instead of Monday through Friday on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, just because we have a lot going on. A lot to get prepared for when it comes to our upcoming tour with Zach Peter. And again, if you haven't gotten your tickets, go to spillingtealive.com. We're sold out of Los Angeles, and New York and Nashville, we're almost sold out of. So we love you guys. That's exciting, but I just want to make sure everyone who wants the ticket gets their tickets. Now, guys, we're not back to talk about that. We're back to talk about the fact that the Real Housewives of Orange County star Heather Dubrow is slamming Tamra for suggesting that she used her kids for a storyline, and she's reacting to Teddy's self-producing claims. And she's kind of shading Kelly Dodd, which I'm always here for a good shady moment. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And don't forget to hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. With that, let's jump right in.
It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
All right, guys, so it looks like Heather Dubrow is not too happy with Tamra Judge. According to Reality Blurb, during a podcast appearance on Monday, the Real Housewives of Orange County star was asked about Tamra Judge's suggestion that she not only self-produces on the show due to her acting background, but she's actually using her kids for a storyline. She said, "I think it was bullshit." And actually, Tamra and I texted about it the other day because I was like, what? Really? What are you talking about? You know me better than any of these girls. Are you out of your mind? Heather recalled on the February 28th episode of Behind the Velvet Rope with David Yontif, noting that she believes it was actually Tamra's podcast co-host, Teddy Mellencamp, who made the claim. Guys, if you haven't checked out David Yontif's podcast, Behind the Velvet Rope, he has such an incredible podcast, and he's always getting these amazing interviews. I have so much respect for David Yontif, so definitely go check it out for yourself. She said, "I just find that preposterous." Heather continued, noting that she hasn't met Teddy, but always thought she seemed nice. According to Heather, she doesn't have time to self-produce, nor would she be able to if she tried. That said, she does feel that Noella Bergener has been inauthentic on the show. When you think you're smarter on the show or smarter than the show, you have lost. It doesn't work, she stated. And that's why I feel like you're seeing a lot of backlash against Noella. She told so many interviews that she's watched every episode. People are like, she just brings all of this for drama's sake. I think it's really obvious when someone's self-producing. When it was then noted that Tamra claimed that she would have been hesitant to talk about her minor child's sexuality, and she doesn't think she would have made that her storyline, Heather made it clear that that was not the case. She said, "That's why I texted Tamra. I go, why are you saying that? I would never use my children as a storyline ever." What's so ridiculous about Tamra saying that is clearly that means there are people out there that that's what they do, but my brain would never work in that direction. Now, Heather has made it clear in the past that part of her coming back on the show was she wanted to share what was going on with her family, and she wanted to share about her daughters and opening up about their sexuality because she feels like there are other families who can learn something from it. And as someone who is, I didn't come out to my family until I was 20 years old because I was afraid to. My family was incredibly accepting and amazing when it came to this, but I was so afraid to tell them anything. And once I did, I was just greeted with like the most amazing response. So watching Heather be able to have these conversations with her daughters at such a young age, I do agree that I think a lot of families out there who are watching, who might have a child who's going through something similar, that this would be important. Maybe they can learn something from it. So I don't think that Heather was wrong for that. I'm not being biased. Although Heather admitted that she was encouraged to share her family stories on the Real Housewives of Orange County because she believed it would show other families how normal this is, she allowed her children, including Max, who's 18, who is bisexual, and Kat, who's 15, who is a lesbian, to have their own voices. Looking back at the moment in which Kat discussed her sexuality on the Real Housewives of Orange County, Heather said that going into the scene, she didn't plan to discuss the topic with her daughter. She said it wasn't an intended conversation. It was just the conversation. And that's where this show can work really beautifully and not just be a shit show of drama. Heather stated, noting that she was so proud of the fact that Kat felt comfortable with cameras around to even have that conversation and be open about it. And even afterwards, I was like, hey, if you're not okay with that, I'll call the producers and talk to them. And she was like, no, No, her daughter wanted this to be out, and she wanted other people to be able to see this moment, and maybe it will help someone who is in Kat's position or Max's position to have this conversation a little bit sooner instead of waiting until you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s. I even have a family member who waited to come out and still hasn't really officially came out to anyone, I think, except for me, who's in their 40s, 50s. So it really, I mean, it is important because you kind of, once you do it, you feel free. You feel like you get to have these conversations, to share a part of yourself that other people might not know about. I can't describe the feeling, but it is very, very, very freeing. While Heather doesn't love some of the things that Tamra said on her podcast, she seemingly shaded Kelly Dodd while noting that certain ex-housewives podcasts are much more tolerable than the ones that spew hate and vitriol. I think that if you're making a living or extending your brand through a podcast and you're doing like an after show and giving your opinions and stuff like that, a lot of people do that sort of thing. And I get that. But I think if you're trying to make a living off of poaching on former castmates and, you know, just spreading hate and vitriol, I have no time for that. And that's not a great lane to be in. And I'm not talking about Tamra. That I find pathetic. Also, during the podcast, Heather joked about looking like a mob boss during her tense conversation with Shannon Bedore, during which Heather told her co-star not to ever mess with her family after learning that she had told Gina and Emily Simpson about the legal action Nicole James took against her husband, Dr. Terry Dubrow, years prior. She said, "When I watched it, I laughed. I was like, oh yeah, it looks pretty dramatic, but I was so upset and I wanted to be very clear that this is never happening again. Did I take it too far? Did I sound crazy? You know, I don't know. But in that moment, that's how I felt." All right, guys, we know that we're getting the new episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County tomorrow, and I can't wait. I'm digging Real Housewives of Orange County this year, and I do understand where Heather Dubrow said that this is kind of a transitional season. So the women are starting to get to know each other again. For the most part, we have a lot of newbies. Nicole doesn't really count anymore, but Noella Bergener, Dr. Nicole James, Heather Dubrow coming back on the scene, not have ever meeting, you know, Emily Simpson or Gina K, and trying to fix this long overdue rift between Shannon Bedore. The women, some of them haven't met Noella or Dr. Nicole. It's just a lot of meeting and getting to know each other. So when she says it's a transitional season, I absolutely agree. It almost feels like we restarted the franchise, and I am curious to see what a season 17 will look like. I don't want to just give you this information though and not ask your opinion. So guys, go ahead and comment below. What are your thoughts on Heather slamming Kelly Dodd's podcast? Which makes sense. And also, what are your thoughts about Tamra thinking that Heather is self-producing? Well, Tamra and Teddy. Do you think that's true, or was that a reach? Go ahead and smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, comment below, and I hope you have a beautiful Tuesday. Also, guys, if you haven't booked a cameo with me, you're more than welcome to. Go on my community tab. I've been making myself look like a little bit of a clown. I had to do an interpretive dance to John Lennon's Imagine and sing a song and reenact a housewife scene. I don't know what I have going on Cameo, but I posted it in my community tab. It's $15 for a cameo, and 100% goes back to Be Strong. Every day at the end of the day, I'm just going to be forwarding all of the funds to the charity. That way they get it as fast as possible. But you guys, again, just go to my community tab, click the link, order a cameo, let me know what you want me to do. Please be kind. I love you guys, and we'll see you so very soon. Bye, guys.